Let's talk about another one. Two different groups finalized reports this week designed to improve public education in North Carolina. The Joint Legislative Oversight Committee and a special House Committee on the Future of Education are talking about things like school calendar flexibility, competency-based education, early literacy, changes in high-stakes testing, even the powers of the state superintendent of public instruction. Joe, you've been watching legislative action for a long time. Is any of this going to lead to any actual changes?
Well, you know, it's interesting. I think in public education issues, I'm reminded of the scene from the movie North Dallas 40, where the football player complains that when the players want to talk about it as a business, the coaches want to talk about it as a sport. And when the players want to talk about it as a sport, the coaches want to talk about it as a business. Public education is a huge part of what the state of North Carolina does, just from an expenditure standpoint. If we're going to change public education, we probably need to change it holistically instead of trying to fix little pieces of it. It's a very difficult and complex thing, and undoubtedly there is a public education institutional industrial complex involved in this, and everybody has a role and everybody has a say. The Oversight Committee in its report, I thought was interesting, talked a little bit about apprenticeship. Now, this is a clear indication that at least there's some recognition in K-12 education in this state has to help, at least in part, prepare people for the types of employment opportunities there are in the economy of the 21st century. Apprenticeships have been proven as a great way to get young people familiar with a particular trade or vocation and get practical skills towards that. We don't think of apprenticeship necessarily as an element of our educational infrastructure, but it should be, and I'm glad to see that in the report. The other special committee, they talk about structural peers, the fundamental things within public education. Representative Torbett has done a lot to try to bring attention to these issues. But I think a systemic change still comes back to this point. If you're going to try to fix something that you think is broken, it's always going to be like patches on the highway. It might be a little smoother, but not entirely smoother, is ripping up the road and starting over. That's probably where we need to go.